This is the BMW X5, and it's a bit like a coffin, because plenty of people I know who've got one of these want to be buried with them. It's just a good do-it-all luxury SUV, and in this video we're going to find out if those people are right or dead wrong. Let's do the B-roll. To be honest, the scariest thing about the X5 is its price. A new M Sport model here in the UK will cost you £70,000. Now this one's only got 8,000 miles on the clock and it's for sale here at Motorpoint Peterborough for 15 grand less than that. So let's find out what you get for your cash. You get proper, move out of my way, looks for sure. That grille is actually bigger than my head, and my head is quite big. But it's not actually German. It's built in America for the UK market, and all models get LED headlights as standard, even entry-level X-Line models. Another difference between those entry-level X-Line models and this top-spec M Sport one is this little bit around the wheel arch. On the X-Line models, that is grey plastic, and it is along the sills as well. And that just makes the whole car look a little bit less luxury and a little bit less premium. Most versions in the UK are M Sport, and they get big 20-inch alloy wheels, whereas X-Lines, they only get 19s. Before we go much further, I should point out the X5 is absolutely vast. It's 4.9 meters long, roughly the same length as a Volvo XC90. However, you can get the X5 with rear wheel steering, so the back wheels turn the opposite way to the front at low speed to help tighten up that turning circle. That theme of vastness continues inside. The X5 is huge. It gives you a nice elevated driving position, much like in a Range Rover, and it's got loads of high-tech stuff as well. I've got a huge 12-inch infotainment screen, which has got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can use it with your fingers or with the handy iDrive controller down here. I prefer that. Helps you keep your eyes on the road. I've got a big 12-inch digital dashboard here as well. It just shows you all your usual driving data, and it's a practical cabin as well as being fancy. It's got physical climate control buttons, so you don't have to crash into other cars because you turned your bum warmers on. I've got a wireless charging pad for my phone. I've got a USB-A, I've got cup holders, I've got USB-C in here, as well as loads more storage. The door bins are big enough to hold a big bottle of water as well. It's just a very well thought out practical cabin, albeit one that's not quite as stylish as in the similarly sized Mercedes GLE. But what about the back seats? Let's find out if they're roomy enough for adults and children. Backseat space in BMW X5 is okay rather than amazing. Sure, I'm 6'3", that's my driving position, and I've got plenty of knee room, but I've got more in a Volvo XC90 or in a Mercedes GLE, and considering how big the X5 is, I was hoping it would do better. Footroom is fine. Middle seat passengers would be all right because there's not much of a hump in the floor where their feet go. Yeah, charging, I've got 12-volt socket, but nothing else. I've got a few little cubbies here. I've got headroom. It doesn't feel claustrophobic. It is okay. Now, there is a 7-seat option on the X5, but if you really want big, usable rear seats, get the X7. Did you know that Stormzy has a whole fleet of black X7s? It's quite cool, much cooler than me. So the cabin is okay for families, but let's check out the boot and see if it's big enough for family duties. Around the back of the X5, you get these mean smoked tail lights and these large chrome trapezoidal exhaust tips, but the party piece is the boot. It's big at 650 litres. It's 40 litres smaller than Mercedes GLE, but it is clever. It's got this Range Rover style flip down tailgate, which can support 250 kilos, which is 2.5 of me on a light day when I haven't been to McDonald's, which is not today. But anyway, it's a clever space as well. The boot floor's on a gas strut, so you can lift it up with one finger, and there's loads of space under there where you would normally find a spare wheel. You've also got these levers here, so you can flip down the rear seats remotely without having to walk around the side. It's a very clever boot. It's a very big space. But what can you fit in it? We're going to find out in the Motorpoint Big Boot Challenge. Now, obviously, the BMW X5 laughs in the face of the Motorpoint Big Boot Challenge. Those 4 bags fit in without any problems. But the eagle eye among you will have noticed I forgot to put the parcel shelf in. So let's just do a quick test with that in place to make sure it's still a valid pass. We're very thorough here. Yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely perfect for big family trips. But is it perfect for enthusiast drivers or just people that want a comfortable car? Let's go and find out. Right, we're going to go for a drive in the BMW X5, and the first thing you notice when you sit in it is that it feels big. You feel very high up. It feels imperious, like you could cruise around your country estate looking over your hedges to check the alpacas are okay. It feels, again, a bit Range Rovery. in that regard. Now, in terms of engines, everything in the X5 is very grown up. They're all 3 litres, they're all 6 cylinders, diesels and petrols. The xDrive 30D is the most popular, 265 horsepower diesel, gets about 40 mpg if you're careful. That is probably the best all-round engine. This is the xDrive 40i, which is a 3 litre petrol, and yeah, it's quite thirsty. I've been averaging about 25 miles per gallon. I've got over 300 horsepower. It's fast. There's an M50i with a V8. It gets a bit silly. I would just stick with that xDrive 30D diesel. But anyway, that's enough waffle. You've read the engines. Let's get onto a dual carriageway and talk about refinement and safety. Right, we're going to accelerate from 30 to 70 on a dual carriageway. And yeah, it is very quick. All versions of the X5 are quick enough for anybody, frankly. That's 70 miles an hour, and you're going to have to bear with me because there's quite a lot of rain on the windscreen, but it is a very quiet car. It's a very comfortable car. I get why the owners of these cars want to die with them, because it's a very relaxed, comfortable place to be. Apart from the fact I am about to run out of petrol, which is that noise. Anyway, safety, really safe car. It's got a 5-star Euro NCAP score from 2018. It's packed with all the usual safety tech such as lane keep assist, automatic emergency braking. It can detect cyclists. It's got the kitchen sink. Anyway, that's all well and good, but is it fun to drive? Has it got that BMW passion for going around corners? Let's go to a country road and find out. Right, I'm on a twisty country road in the X5 now. I've put it into sport mode, which does all sorts of things, but it does firm the adaptive air suspension up, and it is noticeably firmer now. But is it fun to drive? Well, it's a big 2+ ton SUV, so it's never going to feel like a sports car, but it does feel a lot keener in corners than something like a Range Rover. It just feels very flat, and considering the mass, it's impressive the way this thing corners. Not fun, but you could keep up with a sports car. You'd scare yourself a bit though. And it's fast and not very economical. But yeah, it is a sporty SUV, I would say. And the X5M, the top spec one, that's just bananas and will melt your face sideways and your fuel bill. But anyway, let's go back to Motorpoint for a sensible outro. Clearly, the BMW X5 is an extravagant, quite expensive car, but it's right up there with the likes of the Volvo XC90 and Audi Q7. Sure, the back seats aren't quite as roomy as in those cars, but it is more fun to drive. I like the interior tech, and I just love that range of 6-cylinder engines. And it's nice to see BMW flying the flag for really thirsty petrol ones as well. It's a bit prehistoric, but I like it. I see why people fall in love with their X5s and take them to the grave. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, hit like and also subscribe to the Motorpoint YouTube channel because we've got plenty more nearly new car reviews coming soon. I'll see you next time.